I sold my Shelby GT350 for a 2003 Ford Mustang Cobra Terminator, and here's why. All right, rolling start. Talk to me about, oh, I can smell the tires. We're not just at the limit of grip, we're spinning, we can smell it, we could feel it. 10 out of 10 on feels. All smiles per gallon. Just such an incredibly fun car, and that's how cars need to be, sports cars need to be rated. It's not about how much lateral G it has or how fast it is around a track, it's about how fun it is to drive, and this is so much fun. Woo-wee. I sold one of Ford's greatest modern performance cars for a 23-year-old Mustang. Most people think I completely lost my mind. But after spending time with the Cobra, I honestly think I made the right decision. Today I'm explaining exactly why I sold my 2017 Shelby GT350, why I bought this legendary Terminator, and whether this was the biggest mistake I've ever made or one of the best car decisions I've ever made. This just is not another old Mustang. This is Ford's supercharged Terminator Cobra, built to fight Corvettes, built to dominate the streets, and over 20 years later, people still think about it. Drive this all day, all night. It's the party car. It's the legendary partier. Oh man, this thing is cool. But before I tell you why I bought it, let's talk about why I sold the GT350. Because honestly, this wasn't an easy decision. The GT350 has one of the greatest engines Ford has ever built, and honestly, one of the greatest V8 engines ever built. That flat plane crank V8 sounds absolutely incredible. The handling is phenomenal. Its comfort is, well, decent enough to drive it every day unless you have really bad roads. And I'll always absolutely love that car and will probably dream of buying it yet again. But owning one isn't cheap. Oil changes at $400. Didn't have to do any replacement parts because, well, it just never broke like most Mustangs. Mustangs are pretty hard to kill or break. But the insurance was really expensive. Everything costs real money, and eventually I started asking myself, is this really the Mustang I enjoy the most? Because, well, honestly, here on the channel, we want to spread the money around. I sold the Shelby GT350 for 70,000 Canadian to a wholesaler, so easy sale, no work required. And yes, everything absolutely costs money. We wanted to spread the money around. So the Porsche 911 is getting repainted, or has been repainted for that money. And as you can see in the garage, got no Toyota MR2, because the Toyota MR2 is gonna get resolved many of its issues. You can catch the videos on that, but it does a little bit of running hot, not overheating, but running hot. It's got all sorts of different issues, so catch that video. It's the Toyota that never stops costing me money. And let's face it, it's not cheap running a Ford F-250 Platinum. And let's face it, this car has been teasing me for quite some time. Ever since my boss bought it, I wanted it before he bought it. This thing is already upgraded. It's low mileage, under 100,000 kilometers. The condition is, well, really quite impressive. We'll do videos where we cover all its modifications, but this 4.6 liter iron block Terminator engine, hand built, is supercharged, is absolutely incredible. It's an Eaton supercharger, and it's got all the modifications, all the goodies list, my dream list. And let's face it, this is one of my high school dream vehicles. And in high school, I couldn't decide, was this my ideal dream vehicle, or Was a Porsche 911 my dream vehicle? Well, I was in high school, well, around the time these vehicles were built. And yes, these are my high school dream vehicles. Let's take a look at them. So not only does this vehicle look amazing, and I think it's gonna have classic design that's never gonna, die away with time or fade away. I think it's gonna continue to look great as the decades pass by. This is already 23 years old, but it looks like new. There we've got the SVT badging, the handmade engine by Dale Berry and Johns Hanson, it would appear. It's the 4.6 liter, 4-valve Mustang Cobra, so 4 valves per cylinder. SVT badging to show you it's the real deal. It's got the Eaton supercharger, a 6-speed manual, and one of the best 6-speed manuals ever made. It's the Tremec transmission. We'll get more into that when we actually review. This video is all about why I sold a Shelby GT350 with probably the best V8 engine ever made. The only vehicle that comes close and maybe beats it would be the Ferrari 458 Italia's flat plane crank V8, but there's a whole different worlds of cost difference between maintaining that vehicle and this. But this has the six-speed manual Tremec transmission, independent rear suspension. Yes, this was Ford's very first independent rear suspension, and enough aftermarket support to build almost anything to almost any horsepower. So this is wild. But numbers don't explain why people love these cars. It's the personality, it's the blower whine, it's the blower whine, it's the raw feeling, it's the fact that it feels completely mechanical, and it's why I think this is actually a superior Porsche 911. It's the last analog, non-digital, completely natural, fully mechanical Porsche 911, and it's the first one you can get stuck in traffic with and not have to worry about overheating. So yes, 996 generation, the 90s, love the generation from the 90s up until 97. Then you got this headlight design change, and that's also why it's about a fifth of the price of a 90s Porsche 911. But this vehicle here is just, it's so different. Without the proper modifications, it's a little hard to keep on the road, but this has all the goodies. Like I said, it's got the dream list of modifications, and we'll cover all of them properly in a video. Now, compared to the GT350, the Cobra feels older, less refined, heavier, but somehow it feels more alive. And its smaller dimensions also, oddly, while it feels heavier, it also feels nimbler if you have the right modifications. Now, you hear everything, you feel everything. The steering, the drivetrain, the supercharger, every drive feels like an absolute event. Now, let's face it, the independent rear suspension isn't enough to have this feel like a modern sport car. It twists, it bends. They're even known to have gapping differences here in the doors because of how much the, not really frame, but platform underneath twists under the power of the supercharger. So no, it does not get fixed with rear suspension, independent rear suspension. However, this one is special. It's got Bilstein shocks, aftermarket Bilstein shocks, full subframe connectors. You'll see those in the pictures that I'm going to provide, but full subframe connectors means you got a frame that's been added, frame, boxed in steel frame, added and welded in ideally, better than bolting it in, down the length of the vehicle, across the vehicle, so making a rectangle underneath the vehicle. And this has a few tasteful engine upgrades. But is it faster around a racetrack than a GT350? Absolutely not. Does it have the same balance? No. The GT350 is an absolute race car, but this is actually more comfortable on the road. Actually been really surprised by that. The Bilstein shocks, aftermarket shocks, definitely help. You don't buy a Terminator to be fast around a racetrack. You buy one for the feels, for the smiles, for how it makes you feel. And surprisingly, the smiles per gallon really aren't that bad. Lots of smiles, not too many gallons. And owning a 23-year-old performance car comes with challenges. I'm not naive. I know there are going to be things to repair. I know there's going to be things that I'm going to have to upgrade, but luckily the previous owner has done most of it. And I will be documenting, though, everything, the entire experience, from first impressions, full reviews, cost of ownership. Thus far, I can say the insurances, I'm going to save over $1,000 a year just in insurance. We're going to test this. We're going to dyno it. We'll review every single modification and compare it to modern Mustangs, because, well, we've owned a lot of them. Well over 10 Mustangs owned. And we'll see if the legend really deserves its excellent reputation. But before we do any of that, there's one question I need to answer. Did I actually downgrade, or did I buy something better? After owning both, I don't think the car is objectively better. I think they're built for two completely different experiences. The GT350 represents the absolute best of modern Mustang engineering. The Terminator represents one of the greatest muscle cars Ford has ever built. And after making this switch, I honestly couldn't be more excited to see where this journey takes us. If you're as excited as I am, subscribe, because this Cobra story is just beginning. All right, every drive is absolutely special in a Terminator. You press on the pedal just to hear the supercharger whine. This thing makes me smile so much. And I think the real decider, the 0 out of 10 factor, how you calculate how great a vehicle is, should be based on how it makes you feel. Yes, a Miata driven at full speed, 9 out of 10 speed can be an incredible car for the right driver. And this is the right car for certain drivers. If you want to have something that you can drive and just have an absolute blast, huge smiles, this is it. It's going to give you smiles from the sound, and normally there are some really bad aspects of this car. Huge wheel gap, flexibility in that new Edge platform. I think it's pretty much like a Fox body platform modified, which the Fox body's twisted underneath the power. This supercharger has too much power for the platform of the vehicle. The subframe connectors, the lowered suspension, have to really be careful on speed bumps. The lowered suspension, the Bilstein shocks, and the subframe connectors take what would all be really negative points and make this really a straight line king and sort of a princess in every other driving aspect. Is now incredible to drive. It's no track car. It's not an ultimate race car the way the Shelby GT350 is. But for me, I don't go to the track every weekend. I have trouble even if I would make it to the track once a year. Very difficult. It's far away. As a Canadian, we don't have any insurance when we bring your own car to the racetrack. Speed bumps are still pretty stressful, but we're not bottoming out on them as long as we basically stop in front of them, just like the Shelby GT350. But this is more daily drivable because it takes the potholes better. The GT350, the moment I really decided to sell it, is the moment it tried to send, well, the uneven road sent me almost underneath a transport truck, into and subsequently underneath a transport truck. That would have been deadly. I'm a father of 2 kids, and faith, family, and freedom are very important to me, and as such, I need to stay alive. I need to be alive to, well, enjoy my freedom and liberty. Oh man, this makes me feel very alive. The feels on this vehicle are 10 out of 10. And with its very tasteful modifications, I don't have any sore spots with this vehicle. It's just great. Probably not gonna find a Shelby GT350 that modified, but then again, nothing needs to be modified on the GT350. It's a 9.5 out of 10 car. Its only fault is if you have bad roads. It's a little dangerous. It's a little too much of a track car to be a daily if the roads are bad. But this, I can listen to the supercharger eat and whine all day. That's the eat and whine for you. Gotta watch out. It's there goes the 14 PSI off the supercharger, bringing us well over 500 horsepower. Please subscribe because we're gonna cover a whole lot more on this vehicle. We'll give you all the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't hide anything. My Toyota MR2, I haven't hidden that it's on its 4th engine. The Porsche 911 I covered, you know, the convertible hydraulics broke. We needed a new fan on it. But across all my Mustangs, I've owned like 4 MR2s roughly. I've had 3 blown engines, we're on the 4th engine, 2 broken transmission across the 4th, and 1 that completely rotted out underneath. So that was costly. We spent well over $30,000 in Toyota MR2 repairs and having to scrap one across all my Mustangs, and we've owned well over 10 of them. I'll do the list, but I think I've only ever changed 1 O2 sensor and 1 little front motherboard that controlled the radiator fan, so the radiator fan wasn't turning on, so that was running hot. A little trick, we turned the heat on maximum to get more of the radiator fluid and everything moving around the air, and that kept the engine from blowing. It ran hot but didn't overheat. Happy Independence Day, happy America Day to all my American friends. And as well, I have family somewhere living in the States because that's where my family originally comes from. Came up around 1812, part of the family. But to all the viewers who are American and all those that celebrate, happy Independence Day, happy America Day. This is so American. This is real American muscle with a twist. With the independent rear suspension and the list of modifications that this has, this isn't just a straight line beast. This is a actually really good handling car, and this is one of the best daily driving sports cars with these modifications that I can buy. Little 4th gear pull onto the highway. 6th gear Tremec transmission, absolutely fantastic. Heavy mechanical real feel shifting. This thing is spectacular. And so many are going to complain about how awful the interior on this is. Folks, I have a Porsche 911 from this generation, and its seats are very comfortable, but this is more like of a plush sofa feel. It's a little more comfortable. I'd rather spend 12 hours driving in this seat than the 911 seat. The handling of the 911 just has a very special feel to it. On a racetrack, these two would be very similar. This is a whole lot faster because of all the extra horsepower. Air conditioning blows absolutely cold. Everything works on it. And every reviewer trashes the interior on this, but honestly, it's, I'd say, pretty much the same quality as the Porsche 911. Porsche 911's leather, though, is a little better. A little less, dry and hard. But I've got some Johnny's Car Care and Reviews magic to apply to it. I think with a little more care, we'll get the seats just right. So, like, subscribe. We'll be back with more. Godspeed, God bless everyone, and I wish you all more cars and more power. A very special thank you to those that take the time to subscribe and hit the like button. And the biggest thank you of all to those that have hit the join button and become members. You really help encourage me, help keep the channel running, because yes, it does bring in more funds to the channel. More funds equals more fun and more pedal to the metal, because let's face it, fuel isn't free. But the fuel on this, it isn't that bad. Yes, with the modifications, it takes 93 octane minimum, so we get 94 octane while we're, at it at the Petro Canada. So thank you, members, for helping out with the fuel, because like I said, fuel's not free. Stay kind, stay positive, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next video. Drop a comment if you've made it this far.